Step aside, three doctors. We have the first true meeting between the second and third doctor. Hello and welcome back to Madmen with a Box. I'm one of the Madmen, OZChris, here to talk about the Third Doctor Adventures, The Annihilators, which was released on February 8th of this year, 2022. Something strange, green, and deadly lies in the waters of Ludgate Docks, and the Brigadier's investigation into it is hampered at every turn by the local police. Just what are they trying to hide? While the Doctor uncovers sinister ongoings in a city morgue, Liz attracts the attention of something unearthly. Time is running out, literally, as the Doctor, Liz, and Unit find that they aren't the only ones targeted by this world-shattering alien menace, because there's another Doctor in town, and he and his best friend Jamie have now caught the attention of this menace as well. The Annihilators is the 9th release in the Third Doctor Adventures range over on Big Finish, but it is standalone, so you don't really need to listen to the previous 8 volumes, because this isn't categorized as volume 9, it's just categorized as the 9th release in the range, so you don't need to do any extra homework, extra listening to understand the full context of what's going on in here. It is, like I said, standalone, just all in its own separate bubble, and that's great. Not that I'm disparaging you from not listening to the Third Doctor Adventures. I'm sure they are good. They're great. I've listened to the first one myself, Volume 1. I enjoyed it quite a lot. It's a bit weird considering the other previous releases where they didn't have narrators, so it's a bit minimally jarring that suddenly there's a narrator in there, but I enjoyed it enough, so if you want to go check out the Third Doctor Adventures, Volume 1 to 8, go check them out. At least the first one, I really enjoyed it, but we're not talking about those, we're talking about the Annihilators. So I'm just going to go straight into it. I don't want to really talk spoilers in this review. I enjoyed this a lot. I really did. And for something that is almost 3 hours long, if we're not counting the musical suite and like any of the extra content, this is about a little over 2.5 hours, almost 2 hours and 50 minutes, so almost a 3-hour audio story. And I don't think there was a single point where it felt like the story dragged on. The pacing of it was done really well. Every part, because this is a 7-part story, every part of it kept me intrigued, kept me wanting to listen to more. I don't think, aside from like either having to take a break to have something to eat, you know, breakfast, or to go have a shower or do washing, there was no part in this story where I just had to pause and be like, I just want to do something else for a while and then I'll come back to it. That's how good the story was. It kept me really engaged and wanting to finish this story just start to finish, and just in the best that I can, discounting the previous stuff, that, you know, breakfast and all that. I wanted to finish this start from finish straight away. That's how good this story is. That's how you can tell how good a story is. It just keeps you that engaged, and I was so focused on listening to it. Tried not to do anything else while I was listening to this story. All the characters are in a great, even like very minimal characters. Like there's a character called Pritchard. Is part of Unit. You think he's just okay. He's just gonna be like a stock. He's just a stock. I am stock Unit soldier man. I take the orders, I shoot the gun. No, for the minimal moments that he is in there, he stands out really well. Like he has a character, he has a personality, and I quite enjoyed it. And he was one of the standout like new characters in here. The other one was Sinclair, who's a police officer that is very aware that there is something going on in his force. Like there's something, everything's changed and they might be hiding something. I really like Sinclair. He was a really good standout character. The villains were very obvious villains. I don't think there was no real point, even in the premise that I said earlier. It's very obviously who's the villains of the story are, but they did a good job as well. There was nothing bad, not bad in the sense of like, oh, they're the bad guys, not in the sense of they're bad villains. They did their job well. I think they were nice, simple well, not really that much simple to them, but nice simple antagonists to the stories to drive the plot through. And another standout thing about this is that this is the introduction of Michael Troughton as the voice of the Second Doctor. From what I know, Fraser Hines, who's also in this as Jamie McCrimmon, a notable Second Doctor companion, has been voicing the Second Doctor in previous audio stories through his impersonation of the Second Doctor slash Patrick Troughton. But The Annihilators is the debut of Michael Troughton, Patrick's second son. Bit of a coincidence, isn't it? The second son voices the Second Doctor, portrayed by the second actor to take over the role. A whole lot of seconds. But this is his debut as the Second Doctor. As I have yet to listen to any of the Second Doctor audio stories, I have one bought. I bought it at the same time that I bought this. I can't go off how well Fraser does the voice, but I think Michael does a good enough job. There are some times where it's just like, it sounds a little bit not quite like the Second Doctor, but he does a good enough job, whereas I find it at least believable that this is the Second Doctor. You know, it's not as not on the same level as like in The War Doctor Begins, when you have Jonathan Carley doing like a fantastic like almost like 100% spot on impression of John Hurt's War Doctor. But Michael, for his first outing, I believe this is his first outing. I think, well, everything says introducing Michael Troughton as the Second Doctor, so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I'm actually correct. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But his first outing as the Second Doctor, he did a really good job. He did a great job. Whether they're going to continue with him taking over the role, or they're going to have Fraser still doing double duty as the Second Doctor and as Jamie on any audio stories, either way, the role of the Second Doctor in Big Finish is in good hands, regardless of who they pick. And for those who are worried this will somehow contradict the Three Doctors, because that is the first time we had multiple Doctors meeting each other, particularly the Second and Third Doctors, because they do meet in this story, and you have the Brigadier meeting the Second Doctor again, and being confused, thinking, oh, he's just turned back into his previous appearance, not knowing that both of them are there until he meets both of them there. Don't worry, this story does resolve itself so that it still stays, it doesn't contradict the Third Doctor. Without going into spoilers, it won't contradict the Third Doctor story, the Three Doctors, why did I say the Third Doctor? The Three Doctors story, sorry. So that's fine, because that was something I was a little worried about, because for a huge majority of the time, the Big Finish stories have been respecting the canon in the TV show and working well, fitting everything in if they can. So with this one, there was that little bit of me that was wondering, this is gonna, how's this gonna explain them like suddenly not remembering this, not remembering meeting each other before in Three Doctors. At least with the Doctors, you can just pass it off as a, oh, it's just, you know, no, the timelines are out of sync, so they're just going to forget, you know, what they did with like the War Doctor and the 10th Doctor in Day of the Doctor. They're just not going to remember the majority of the events of what they did because timelines are out of sync. You can excuse that, but the Brigadier is there. He's in the Annihilators. He's in Three Doctors. He meets Jamie and the Second Doctor again in this. So you're going to have a bit of a hard time explaining how the Brigadier can remember and then also forget. But luckily, the end of the story wraps it up to where it still keeps everything canon. It resolves it in a nice, simple, easy way. So good on the writers for doing that. They worked him out of a... They wrote themselves out of a tricky predicament if they just kind of forgot that thing. And let's talk about And let's talk about the cover art to the Annihilators, because my god, Sean Longmore, who did the cover art to this, did a fantastic job. A lot of the Big Finish stuff, especially recently, there have been some that have been good, like the Ninth Doctor Adventures, like the most recent one that has, because there's another one coming out soon. Coincidentally, also has the Brigadier in it. But Volume 3, Lost Warriors, that's a really good cover. And then you have stuff like Stranded 3, where it's just 3 people in a line, plain blue background. It's like, it's kind of bland, I'm sorry, but like, it's kind of a bland looking cover. But Sean Longmore's cover for the Annihilators, art. That's all I can say. It's art. It's amazing. I love the style to this cover. And also on his Twitter, he's released a textless version of it, so definitely go check it out. So big props to Sean Longmore for putting in like an A+ game on this cover. It is a fantastic cover. I don't know what other covers Sean has done, because like I said, I'm fairly recent to a lot of Big Finish. But definitely, if he's just for the Third Doctor adventures, get him to do more. If not, branch him out to other stuff. Although I feel like his style fits really well with the Third Doctor adventures, for the Annihilators. So I don't know. Whatever it is, fucking keep this man employed, because he's doing great work with the cover art. And then also onto the sound design by Stephen Foxen. Like I said earlier, I'm not only fairly recent to Big Finish, but I'm also fairly recent to the Third Doctor adventures. I've only listened to the first volume, and what I've noticed is that the sound design, like the music, the sound effects and everything, it feels very 70s. It feels very in the setting of like the Third Doctor's season, like in the TV show. They do a great job of like capturing that feel to it. So it feels like this was something like that would have came out from the 70s, just from like the sounds, the effects and everything, the music to it all. It captures the tone of like 70s era Doctor Who really well. So good job in that department as well. And before I finish, the core premise of a multi-Doctor story is the Doctors meeting each other. I really like the dynamic between the Second and Third Doctor, especially from the 3 Doctors, like their banter with each other. You know, despite the fact they are the same person, but they are the same person in different bodies, but in different personalities. So they're bantering with each other, their interactions with each other, I really enjoyed. So it's good to see that again. I do wish we got a bit more of it from the Annihilators, but the little that we did have, good. I really enjoyed it. It was it was really good to hear. So to summarize, the Annihilators is a engaging and fantastic release by Big Finish. Every part of it I enjoyed. I don't think there was a single aspect of it I disliked. All in all, it is a good story. I would definitely recommend it. As I said, it is standalone. You don't need to do any previous listenings. I was going to say readings, because that's always my go-to, but don't have to do any previous listenings, extra homework to get the full context of what's going on. So definitely go check it out. 9 out of 10. And that concludes my review of the Third Doctor Adventures, The Annihilators. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, check out any of the previous reviews or videos I've done by myself or I've done with my co-hosts. Thank you all, and I'll see you all next time. Ciao.